What are we doing here?
Well,
I mean, I know what you're doing, but I'd like to know the benefit.
oh, no. The reason I'm doing all this now, when I work with the hand, one of the things that, like I was talking about, I'm trying to articulate how I can feel balance, gravity, acceleration, and such in the human system. So somehow, when I do this with you already, the muscle was just twitching a little bit, but
I felt it go like that.
Right. Well, this is where I look at balance. See, now already, because I'm up this high, you're starting to get, quote, a little stiffer, and I know that's not supposed to be a word that we use in our Feldy stuff, but what happens is balance, people look at balance as an inner ear thing. However, if I bring a hand, or let's say this is just a basic examination, you should have balance anywhere in your system. And this is the one that's really obvious, because if I'm just walking, my arm should be hanging here. So that's fine. So you're not so bad going left to right. I would like to see a bit more in the shoulder happen, but I can feel, as I have my hands down here, just the muscles starting to kick in just a little bit, especially now if I start moving the hand around. So if I move the hand around, you can feel how your biceps just
I was
gone
fighting
like,
it.
yeah. Well, it's not that you're fighting it. This is where I look at as acceleration. So if I'm just taking your hand and let's say I drop it, just like this. Now see, you're actually holding it because your hand's not going woof. You know, so if I let go, see how you're actually holding your hand a little bit, so your hand is not falling. So it's getting a little bit better. There we go. See how now, if I let go, your hand's falling.
The muscles have given up trying to do anything.
It's not that they've given up, it's just that I feel that just these little experiences of going like this, I can see if someone has a problem with acceleration. So let's just say, and again, I'll be more drastic, this is acceleration through the system. Or if I were to throw my hand, you know, that's an acceleration. Now tighten your left hand. So see, already,
I've already.
now you have issues with your acceleration. So this is what I'm looking at with the hand. Now, obviously, I was going to too much because I'm just showing you. And then also what I found is I should be able to not only lift an arm quite nicely, and you have a nice long arm, but not only lift, but I should be able to just sort of swing like a pendulum.
Well, that elbow should be rocking.
Right now, I should sort of get this. And I'm not, and that's okay. So now this is the beginning. See how it's just sort of going back and forth, but there's no
movement down there.
The torque is not there and here. So here you really feel your muscles kicking in. So if I were to do something like that, I'm already starting to strain through your lower or upper back right in here. So those are my objectives, is to show how through a lesson now I can change all that.
Cool. That's amazing. I tightened up over here and then auto tightened over there.
Well, what it is when you suddenly use muscles that aren't meant to be used in the situation, the brain has to think first, okay, tighten that hand, but that's not supposed to be tight. And now go from that hand going, oh, what was I doing over there on the right side? So you're not as fluid. So if you're, let's say, going for the Olympian, going for the pommel horse or something, or a big, cart backflip, if all of a sudden I see, or especially like on a football player, quarterback, you should be able to throw a spiral with the other hand. Usually it looks like a washcloth, just hanging there. If I see that hand clenched, the left hand, let's say if he's a right-handed thrower, not only is he going to not make the throw because his brain is already saying, I'm either injured or I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing at that moment, but he's just going to start ripping out his shoulder. And that's where the, quote, older ball players start ripping the shoulder out. It's actually because they're contracting the other hand. And they don't realize they're doing it. Because when the hand was limp, to them, that was just natural. See, here I'm analyzing movement, but when someone does a movement well They don't analyze it. They don't know why they're well. They're just gifted or whatever. You know what I mean? They're just really good. However, as they get injured or have had trauma in their life, now the brain gets sort of, let's say, confused, for lack of a better words, or has too much effort into other movements because you're injured, and you lose the natural ability that you once had. And that's where the lessons come in nice, because all of a sudden someone else can say, oh, did you realize you were tightening that hand, where they might not be able to even notice it. And let's say you're not an elite athlete, you could be on a cell phone too much. You know what I mean? And you're not letting go of that hand even though the phone's down. Or people even hold their phones all the time, but they hold it this way versus just having it next to them.
You want neck and shoulder problems? Crunch your phone in your shoulder. Oh,
Well, you see me all the time with my basket and my head and my, if you do it right, it's no big deal. It's when you do it and you're afraid of, say, dropping the phone, or, you know, or there's tension in the conversation.
any loosening happening?
Yeah, you can see already it's starting to, but,
I'm trying to remain relaxed.
oh, don't worry about it.
A lot of this kicks in automatically, don't it?
Well, now I'm teaching you how to drop the hand. See how that's already getting much easier now to drop it.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
see, you're holding it right there, see it?
I'm holding this part up.
Right,
This part went limp, but I held this up.
right. See if I let, there you go. And just from that, see already the difference down the shoulder?
Yep. Sometimes I wonder how we can get up and walk.
And also what's very interesting too, as far as acceleration goes, so now if I lift, and you can feel the heaviness in the arm right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I have learned that if I lift, let's say one part, which right now I'm going through the elbow, right now my upper hand is just there for support, I should almost feel where that acceleration goes easily up and down the arm. And right now it's like you have a giant lever here, but I don't feel that give and take now. Now that I'm saying that, it's already starting to change. See, it has a weight transfers.
Now, is that the relaxing of my muscles or what?
Part of it's a relaxing, part of it is the lesson. Even my auto-suggestion by talking you through it creates that. The fact that you come here all the time for lessons has a lot to do with it. However, normally I'm not talking through what specifically I'm doing. So now you can feel right when I turn the wrist now here, how it's going through your upper shoulder. However, in the beginning when I start talking with someone, I don't have that clarity necessarily because there's so much going on in here. Once this isn't so much of an issue anymore, that wrist or the upper arm, then I can start going to other areas.
Where you were pushing initially tingled all over my body. Don't know why.
I've got the arm.
Huh.
I get that all the time. I tell people, don't help me. I'm not helping you. And finally, I just take everything away and they're just suspended. No, not at all. But see now already just the change in the wrist rotation.
Yeah. I got a clunk.
Yeah. And also just from that too, just the difference now in the shoulder.
Lighter. Feels lighter.
But now again, let it go.
So muscle training, muscle relaxation, that's all part of it.
Well, yes and no. What it is most people, especially in the arm, start using what I refer to as a muscular skeletal system instead of the bones. You know, when you're just walking, your arms should just be swinging. I just watched this really interesting video on what a normal gait looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have loved to have done this lesson on the gentleman that would, quote, had a normal gait that was so holding his right side, so much so that when he kicked his right foot up, it inflected the toes up. So
You
what
could see
their,
that, huh?
oh yeah, but where, their idea of, quote, a normal gait and my idea of a, now it looks better than most people's, but it still had room for improvement. There you go, there you go. So now see how the torque just changed. And I can pull the arm out. So you're ready now. Now I'm going to let your elbow drop. By the way, we're only filming this side of it, so you're going to have to pay me extra to the other side. And feel how much nicer now the hand wants to drop.
It's just amazing.
So just from that dropping, and this to me is just the law of minimum physics. As I'm sitting there, your arm should just be lying there as a pendulum. If I go this, you should naturally want to find gravity versus fight it. There we go.
Well, it's not doing anything. Why should it be working?
Yeah, but your brain's not saying that. Most
I
people
know.
don't even know how to lie down. So we're ready now. Let you rest for a second.
This human body is a marvelous machine.
Oh, we just did a lesson with the eyes. Oh my gosh, now I have like a whole new.
Did you? What'd you learn?
We had to move only the right eyeball and do movements. Completely freaky.
And
I mean, freaky in a good way.
it's possible.
It is totally possible. I was moving my right eyeball. Now, the left obviously was moving too, but not.
Well, if you can cross your eyes, that's a movement not normal. That's two eyeballs going in different
No,
directions.
that's actually not true. Convergence, we test it on the babies all the time. I should be able to, if you're looking at my finger, come in to a certain point and your eyes should want to cross because they're still looking at the object, and then move back out. And there should be a smoothness to the eyeball. And we can very easily tell that if there are any issues where the left eye might be dominant or the right eye in that situation. Another thing that's quite nice on people, it should happen, I should be able to bend your wrist and then your elbow. Most people want to go up like this versus being able to do something. There we go, that's much nicer. See, again, this is something where I can sort of talk you through it and then your body responds like, oh, that's what you want to be. And again, just that alone. And also feel how, as I'm going back and forth now, see how the transfer of weight
It
from
don't feel like it weighs anything.
yeah. Now here it will. See how when I'm getting to this, now you can feel we're right above the clavicles. And again, see how you want to hold your arm a little bit more. Here, you're much more wee up here. See how you're holding it?
I was. I didn't mean to.
That's why I get paid the big bucks. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
But again, now look at the torque.
Well, you know, you've done this with the feet, arm, leg, and you could do the whole body with my big toe.
Well, same thing here. You can feel now on the left side is like, I get to about here.
Mm-hmm.
And also, now I can just, there we go. And that's just to let the clavicle and everything know that they're separate from the chest cavity. There, feel how now the arm rotates. Also feel how you can almost like clap my hand. See how the you're just nicely falling into, there we go. That's much nicer. See, right here's different. Feel that? Feel here? See the difference?
Part of the bicep isn't relaxed, or what?
Well, whatever. That's where you end the conversation. If I were to say, yes, it's because you threw that football in 1978, and from that moment on, I miss finding out. I just felt up a gentleman recently, and he had 2 standing legs. And I was like, oh, you had some accident. Well, he was hit by a car when he was 10 years old, broke the right leg.
And that leaves a lasting mark.
Yeah. In his case, it did. That's the whole thing about trauma. What happened to you? You could, miss a rung of a chair and throw out your back for 3 weeks, whereas you've seen guys that have had, hit by 4 football players, and they get up and say, oh, that was a good game. Yet they go and do something, quote, stupid. And that's where people don't get help, because they judge their trauma as, okay, this should warrant services versus I hardly did anything, so, I'm just being stupid by going in.
I feel like I'm fighting.
This is a really interesting move. And this just is something.
I'm not trying to.
No. This is just something I figured out. Again, part of it is acceleration. And if you look, those tubes of glass as they go from one section, they're like funky and they've got that lava. Well, that's exactly how I see the cellular makeup going on, or the fluids. I mean, we're 80% liquid, right?
Yep.
So I should have that kind of phenomenon going on, right? Now also, again, you're a big boy, meaning, you're 6'4". So there's a longer distance for that acceleration. So I'm looking for the point of your brain to be able to actually transfer that fluid nicely back and forth. And it's just something you haven't practiced with. But by me holding you in a very perpendicular way, you can figure it out. See, again, look at how much nicer now the shoulder is.
Really floppy.
There we go. Feel the difference now? There. Now you can lift it. Now, right there. Okay, so good. So I'll let you rest for a second. So now I'm just fine-tuning it. I started here, then it was like here, now here, gone through here, and now we're getting right into the nitty-gritty of the shoulder. But this is your punch, or a golf swing, or however you want to look at it. So right here, yeah, feel it? Just for a second.
That created a tingle.
Mm-hmm. There we go. job. Now we'll let this for a second. Ah. There we go.
Gravity's taken over.
No, it's not that it's taken over.
I mean,
Is you have a better
relaxed.
relationship to it. You're not afraid of the gravity, for lack of a better word.
Right.
It's like you know where the table is, and you're lying there.
I'm not
I'm
fighting
not
you.
hurting you. So I'm gonna let that rest for 1 second, and then I'm gonna do it with the torque. Now, at this point, the left arm and the right arm should be completely different animals.
They feel different. This one has no weight.
Yeah. Well, again, now see, look at the difference in acceleration. See how I can just, you know.
My brain has learned to let you do it.
Well, no, your brain has just a better relationship with acceleration. However, I can feel it first in your system where there's stuff I need to work on, or like this, that I can just, you know. Look at your arm now.
Jello.
That's a pendulum.
I'm jello.
So now, there you go. And that's a punch. You're throwing a punch.
Yeah.
And now I can do the pendulum with your shoulder.
You are.
Yeah, isn't that neat?
Unbelievable. Who would have thought?
Whee!
Unbelievable.
Sorry, I need to direct your breath. There you go. See now, look at, see, this is what has been my argument, and I didn't really see it till playing around more so with you. I should be able to just touch, just like a ripple in a pond. Normally you cannot get that from anyone's visceral tissue, you know, where I'm just sort of touching, and because you're so fluid. So as I move in and just let go, again, it's what I call a vestibular fall. So,
It's like a hot water bottle reforming.
right, but I should be able to just, and now the head's going more into it, you know. So I'm not going, John, John, wake up, that kind of thing, although, you know, that would do other things to the diaphragm. But I just go in and let go and allow your vestibular system to react to gravity in an environmental way versus gravity always being considered from underneath the person. This has nothing to do with going down, you know, this is going sideways, you know. And again, it's something, a life experience that most people don't play with. It's something too, even for me to do a lesson on myself, I can't work on that kind of information. There we go. And also too, now the rotation in the wrist that I can get away with. So even now, the fingers, feel the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Feel the difference?
Very wobbly down there.
But now I have to work up the hand a little bit. See, what I'm doing now is as I go away to your extremities, down to the fingers, part of you is, in a sense, going, I'm slipping away. You know what I mean? I have a better grip on you here. So now I'm trying to teach your system that,
This is okay too.
yeah. And again, it's just a different relationship to gravity. I'm just going out to the outer fingers. And now you can see too even more now how the hand wants to collapse. Now you're getting a much more nicer hand reflex.
The movement area is bigger too.
There we go. Now see how you're reaching out, extending out through the fingers. Most people are used to a grip or something to that effect in this kind of position. They're not.
Handshake
There you
mode.
go. Going all the way out.
I can feel that rippling in the.
Isn't that neat? Yeah.
Yeah, I have to equate that to a hot water bottle. You deform it and then it comes back.
Yeah. Yeah,
And it
water
ripples.
balloon. Now. Let's do one more time. And notice too, I can get so much quicker now with the arm, bringing it up and down.
There's no weight.
Where before I had to. So,
It don't weigh nothing.
again, I'm slipping away. There we go. See now, see how your fingers now just go right through me. So now lift up this arm. And now lift up the other arm. See how much too you do even do through your abdomen? Look at that, do that again.
Yeah.
And see how much you're doing it through the ab? So now do the other arm.
Just
Yeah,
goes.
pretty cool.
More than that. That's an experience.
Thanks.